There are a lot of ignorant and downright offensive things that people say about Jojo, but the one thing that really gets me is when people say Jolyne is just Jotaro but a woman. There is a long-standing trend among hack writers and comic book artists to create characters that are just another character but a woman this time, rather than actually writing an interesting character that happens to be a woman. However, this criticism does not apply to Jolyne Kujo, who is leaps and bounds ahead of her father as a character and as a person. And the idea that Araki went, yeah, I'll just make Jotaro again, is ridiculous, when he said himself that Jolyne was meant to be a way of making up for all the lack of female characters in his previous work. The point of this video is not that you should not draw comparisons between Jotaro and Jolyne, but you should recognise that they are fundamentally and significantly different people. Yes, they are both hotheads who are willing to fight at any given time, and are very brave and believe in what they want, but pretty much every JoJo is willing to do that, and every JoJo has that fire in them because they're a shonen protagonist. While Jolyne and Jotaro often act alike when in fights, it's important to recognise that outside of the fights, Jolyne actually acts like a pretty normal person, while Jotaro was pretty much always in Clint Eastwood mode, except for a few rare occurrences. But it's also important to note that during part 3, Jotaro probably got the least amount of actual character development compared to the rest of the cast. That makes it really hard to talk about his character because he essentially is very two-dimensional. Even people that like him are probably willing to admit that. I have a hypothesis for why people are so keen to pigeonhole Jolyne into this role. It's because in a lot of shonen anime and manga, it's extremely rare to see an actual character that is a woman and is very strong, independent, and not in a mean way. I mean, she's genuinely the protagonist in every single way in part 6. And I think a certain subset of people, rather than accept that, are simply happy to just label her as just Jotaro again rather than actually think about who she is or the way she's portrayed. I don't think it could be underestimated how important Jolyne actually is as a character for representation in JoJo and in manga in general. I think if you look online and you look at the way people react to Jolyne that aren't people who just mindlessly compare her to Jotaro, you'll see just how important her representation is and how much people love her and love to talk about her because she's one of the most interesting characters in all of JoJo. She is ostensibly the first woman that actually has a major role in the story that isn't there as a love interest or to die. Not only that, her and part 6 in general mark the turning point when JoJo goes from a typical shonen battle manga to an actually mature and transformative work of media that really surpasses everything else in the genre.